All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome. If you're new, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the intro. Decided to change up the intro music a little bit. Feeling pretty excited, we have some new info about the PlayStation showcase that we have been waiting for. Feels like forever, but it's been like a year. I mean, a year's a long time, right? We all remember last year's showcase, and so there's a lot riding on the next one. And the info that we're getting today, I think, is pretty promising. I do. As you can see by my title, I said GTA 6 might be there. I think there really is actually a very good chance, based off of something that people recently discovered, that GTA 6, the second trailer, might actually appear at this upcoming showcase. Wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world, because we know that Sony has had like a marketing deal with Rockstar in the past. They marketed GTA 5 for PS5 like over and over and over again. At the beginning of this generation with the original PS5 showcase, Jim Ryan was like, hey, we're happy to announce we're continuing our partnership with Rockstar. So I think that's going to happen. And man, that is going to be huge. A part of me almost kind of hopes, though, maybe it doesn't happen, because I feel like if GTA 6 shows up at the showcase, it might end up overshadowing like literally everything else. Because if we do see another trailer for GTA 6, you would assume we might get our first glimpse of gameplay. Hickzock, damn, what's going on over here, bro? Hickzock, you just gotta not pay attention, man. I know it's hard. I pay attention too much. You just gotta not pay attention. Doesn't matter, Yeah, I agree, Titus. Doesn't really matter where they show it. It's going to break the internet. But yeah, this is a discussion we're going to have today. I wasn't planning on streaming today. I said yesterday that my next stream would be on Thursday, but this came out today, and I decided I'd rather do a stream than just make a regular video on it. Maybe I'll make a video on it as well, but MBG, how are you? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. All right. So before we get into this conversation, before we talk about any of this, I do want to once again just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. I also want to make sure I give a shout out. If you're somebody who can't catch the streams live, but you watch them later on, thank you so much for that. I do appreciate the viewership and the support. Hit the like button. If you guys are hyped for this PlayStation showcase that apparently could drop at any moment, hit that like button. Really helps the streams. You guys killed it yesterday in a good way. You left a lot of likes on the stream, and I told you that the likes, they help more than you know, and because of that, the stream is being pushed out to more people, new people, and so hit that like button. Is it from a legitimate insider? Yeah, the info we're about to go over is coming from seemingly one of the only few people who actually has been correct in the past about future PlayStation shows and stuff like that. But yeah, I do want to let you guys know that there are 3 ways, technically 4 ways, you can support my channel and content directly. I always want to try to let everybody know, especially for those who are new here at the beginning of every stream, that I do rely on you guys. This channel, this content, it's all fan funded. We don't do sponsorships here as of now, and it's just not a thing we do. So the ways in which you can help support the channel directly: number 1, you can consider becoming a channel member. Okay, you can support me directly in that way. You get access to some exclusive perks. One of those exclusive perks is the Members Lounge. Another one is you get exclusive members-only posts as well. So consider that. If you are already a channel member, please consider gifting memberships. It's a big thing the community does here, and a lot of people are very much appreciative of those membership gifts, and they go a very long way in supporting the channel as well. And you can also consider donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, anything in between. It all helps tremendously. And there is a direct donation link pinned at the top of the chat where if that's what you want to do, you can donate to me directly, the content creator, where 100% of it goes to me, if that's something you're interested in. So thank you guys for all of your continued support. I couldn't do it without you. But let's get into this info here. All right, so article from PlayStation Lifestyle. Insiders have doubled down on their claims that a PlayStation event, seemingly a showcase, is going to take place in May 2024. If the rumors are true, Sony has some unannounced exclusives in store for this year as well, so fans are expecting a chunk of the event to focus on new first-party news. Journalist and insider Jeff Grubb, who first reported that a PlayStation event is coming this month, says that things are still on track at Sony's end. Okay. Holy shit. Get your fucking website together. Dude, I just got a major pop-up that just took me to a completely different screen and removed me from the article. Like, what? Anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen again because I want to read this article to you guys. Jeff Grubb says that things are still on track on Sony's end, but it remains to be seen when the company will announce the specific date and time for the May 2024 showcase. Separately, insider Special Nick Baker claims that while his sources don't have an anticipated date or time for the PlayStation event, they do expect it towards the latter half of the month. If true, it may be something during the beginning or like maybe announced on May 20th. It says, as for whether it'll be a showcase or a stated play, Jeff Grubb previously claimed that he believes it'll be a showcase. Nick Baker says he isn't sure. That said, Sony has yet to reveal the PS5 Pro. Yada, yada, yada. Silent Hill 2, we already know that. But, you know, oh my God, dude, what is wrong with their website? I think their website is hacked or something, guys. Like, it's legitimately just shooting me off of the page. Anyway, Nick Baker, or Special Nick, claims that Sony will have new first-party reveals ready to go for the showcase, which, you know, I don't know if that's like breaking insider news, of course, but, it's something. But the thing that's really important here is the further confirmation from Jeff Grubb specifically that the showcase is on track. And according to him, it could be announced at any moment. I'm actually going to go to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit because I don't get kicked off of here. Jeff Grubb reiterates the PlayStation Showcase is happening this month. The PlayStation Showcase is happening this month still, apparently, but whether it's next week or the week after, I honestly don't know. Could be at the end of the month, but I won't be surprised if it does actually happen next week. It could happen at any moment. So for those wondering, when it comes to Jeff Grubb's track record, he is the only one that has correctly come out and told us, like, hey, this is when Sony's having a state of play. This is when they're having a showcase. Last year, he was the only person that told us the showcase was happening in May, and he was correct about that. And so this year, basically the same thing. He has some kind of source that knows what's going on. It almost seems to me like Sony, maybe this is a possibility. It almost seems like maybe Sony hasn't even decided themselves, like, what date they want to do it exactly. What we can take from this, though, is that this is not going to be a live event, right? Like, this is not going to be at a venue with a live audience. This is going to be a pre-recorded showcase. Maybe not surprising to anybody, but this essentially confirms it. Irvin says they're editing it now. Yeah, they probably are. They're probably still in the process of editing it. Really got to wonder, man. Really got to wonder if this is it, right? Like, is this the moment that we've been waiting for where Sony finally delivers that special showcase that we've all been waiting for? I need to add unblock Origin to extension to your PC browser. Yeah, well, that never happens normally. Like, to be honest, like, I've went on these websites numerous times, and of course there's ads, whatever, not really bothered by them, but then this was the first time I've ever just been booted off of the actual web page where it's like, what is going on here? It seems like there's something wrong with their website. I see you guys are having some back and forth in the chat here about PC. Well, you know what? Check this out. Grand Theft Auto 6 new screenshots. Information could be inbound. New website update suggests. Another look at GTA 6 could be coming very soon, judging from the Rockstar Games official website. Its latest update, as spotted by X and the game's subreddit, the Rockstar Games official website was updated a few hours ago to include placeholder links for the game's cover art and several screenshots. Other elements discovered in the website's code, such as the ESRB rating, also suggest the studio may be gearing up for a new reveal. Very little is currently known about Grand Theft Auto 6. The game's reveal trailer provided a quick look at the two protagonists and the setting, Vice City, but featured no actual gameplay. And it looks like there was a donation here. Waleed the Game Cat donates $1. Thank you for the tip, Waleed. I do appreciate that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Boss is joining us. Boss, are you hyped for the showcase? Yeah, me too. Me too. But this is very interesting to me because the timing of this, I mean, come on, guys. The timing of this is very peculiar, is it not? GTA 6, the website's updated, entering the second week of May. And one of the things that is apparently they have placeholders here for our new screenshots. Like it seems clear that a new trailer is coming. I'm thinking it's going to show up at the event, man. I do. I think the timing is right. But I don't know. I don't want to like get overhyped or anything. Boss is looking buff and majestic. Open with GTA 6? Yeah, that would be a crazy show opener, dude. Super Bloodborne Maker 2 says Rockstar nerds PlayStation support. Let's not act like they have other systems to support them. Well, I mean, here's the crazy thing about GTA 6. All right. It's not going to be a PlayStation exclusive, obviously, but man, if you look at what's going on in the console space right now, I heard this rumor. I don't know if there's truth to this, but holy shit, if it's true, it's worse than I could have imagined. The rumor is that Xbox only sold a total of 800,000 consoles the last quarter, like over the last 3 months. And if that's bad, if that's true, that is like unbelievably bad. That's the rumor that's circulating. And of course, Microsoft doesn't actually share numbers. So, we got to take that with a pinch of salt. But the reason why I'm saying this is because, like, dude, if you're a Rockstar and you're Take-Two Interactive and you know that the PC version of GTA 6 isn't going to be ready for quite some time, and you're just developing it for consoles, and for the first year or two of this game being out, it's only going to be on the current gen consoles, I feel like, I don't know, man, I feel like you want to really try to associate your game with the PS5, because the PS5 is the console that's really out there right now and that's going to sell the most. Waleed, I appreciate the super chat. You're saying, did you see my message with the Streamlab tip? You know what? Hold on. Oh, my bad, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was actually the box that I have here so small, it just showed your tip. Sorry about that. You're saying this showcase could be a slam dunk, nail in the Xbox coffin, expecting Astrobot VR2 remastered, Astrobot 2 reveal, and UI updates for PSVR 2, also first-party 2 PSVR 2 games. You're saying it may be a split between May and the September showcase. I would go all in now. That's interesting. You believe you seem to have a lot of faith that Sony's gonna have a huge VR2 presence here, and they could. They could. I'll be honest though, man. Like I'm expecting VR2 to be there, but I do think VR2 will be a very small part of the overall show. But I do agree that, like, you want to talk about the final nail in Xbox's coffin. Yeah, I'll be real with you right now, man. I think Xbox is going to have a pretty solid showcase. It seems clear they will. But after the news that just came out yesterday, where Microsoft is closing down studios and everybody's really angry with them, I just think, yeah, this is a moment where if Sony really wants to gain a ton of momentum and just start to really get way beyond Xbox and kind of leave them in the rear view mirror to a point where you can't even see them anymore. I think this is the moment to do that. Leo with a $5 chat says, collecting cans and Stellar Blade, listening to your podcasts. Keep doing your thing. I will, dude. Thank you for that, Leo. That's awesome. Playing some Stellar Blade as you're listening. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for thank you for stopping your gameplay session to drop a super chat, bro. Really appreciate it. I will say, like, when it comes to PSVR 2 showing up at the showcase, I think an Astrobot game, yeah, that could be like the big PSVR 2 presence. Saying the stream froze. Says everything's good on my end. Maybe refresh it. Jerry Gamer says, did I miss something? Why is it that GTA 6 might show up in the showcase? Well, I guess maybe you missed it. More people are filing in. Basically, Rockstar Games updated their website and people were looking at in the back end and they discovered that there's currently placeholders for new screenshots for GTA 6, but you can't see the screenshots. You can only see the placeholder for them. So this seems to indicate that a new look at GTA 6 is coming very soon. And when you look at the timing of this, the PlayStation Showcase, according to Jeff Grubb, could drop at any moment. It could happen as soon as next week, according to him. Although I'm thinking it's going to happen more towards the end of the month. But yeah, GTA 6, listen, I was telling you guys that Sony's going to have their earnings and console sales are not going to be as strong this time around. Like, Sony's going to have to report to their shareholders that, the console sales have slowed down the past quarter. And that's obviously the last thing they want to report, but that's going to be the reality of it. Dude, the quickest way to turn that shit around, I mean, like that. Oh, here's a new showcase. Here's GTA 6, PS5. I mean, you do that, you're good. Like, that's not even counting any of the other first party reveals or anything else they're going to show. That's the way you do it. And I'm really thinking Sony paid. I don't know if they paid a lot of money, but I think we're going to find out Sony has the marketing rights to GTA 6. And I think if you look at it, it just makes total sense. Again, it is releasing on Xbox, but Xbox, their console's done, dude. Let's be honest. It's done. Nobody is expecting Xbox consoles to really sell that well going forward now. But the same cannot be said for the PS5. So if Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive, they want GTA 6 to be as successful as possible, considering it's only going to be on the current gen consoles when it launches, yeah, I think the ideal thing to do is to, drop this trailer at the next PlayStation Showcase. You'll sell a lot of PS5s. Yeah. And Jakey Stee coming in with a milestone chat saying, keep on keeping on. Thank you for that, Jakey. And I also do wonder if we are going to get another look at Death Stranding 2. I could see that. There's a tweet last night from a famous singer saying he's a song copyrighted due to the Sony Showcase next week. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna laugh when there's an Xbox game announced at the PlayStation Showcase. Yeah, that's true. Norman Reedus is hanging out with Kojima right now. So I do wonder what's going on there. Ragu Bagu, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. You're saying here, whoever recommended Madison VR, F yourself. You just took 10 years off my life. Never experienced anything that terrifying in my life. Makes PT look like a Mickey Mouse game. Holy shit, Ragu Bagu. Ragu Bagu, sorry, I said Bago. Dude, that's a pretty funny super chat. I'm not going to lie. F yourself. Whoever recommended this game, F yourself, bro. You know what you just did to me? See, I had a feeling. Ragu Bagu. Like, that's exactly why I'm so hesitant, where people have told me this game is absolutely terrifying, and I can only imagine how much more terrifying something like that could be in VR too. And I won't lie though, like, what makes it almost a little bit appealing in maybe some kind of I don't know, masochistic way is like, you're saying that you've never experienced anything that terrifying in your life. It makes PT look like a Mickey Mouse game. Like, dude, that kind of piques my interest. Like, really? Like, it's that terrifying. It's that terrifying? Damn, maybe now I see why people are like, bro, you need to stream this. You're gonna stream me pissing my pants here. He says, yes, sir. Man, that's... I might have to go check out some YouTube videos of this. Surely somebody out there has streamed themselves or recorded themselves playing this in VR. I got to see this. Somebody in the chat saying, I've been following / watching you since less than 1K subscribers. Damn, dude. Shout out. Shout out to you, Arif. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, but thank you for that. Don't do it, just play it. See, KDV says it's really not scary. I don't know, man. KDV, did you play in VR too, though? Did you? Be honest. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. I wasn't expecting that, though. Ragu Bagu says, that's bullshit. That's so funny. That's so funny. Ragu Bagu is... I can tell he's different today, man. Ragu Bagu's been here for a little while. I can tell with this super chat. He's different. This game changed him. He's not the same person anymore. Dreadful83 coming in, kicking off the day, dropping 5 membership gifts for you guys. Dreadful83. I was waiting, bro. I was waiting for somebody to drop some membership gifts because I have a new soundbite that I want to test out. Okay? And Dreadful83, you're the lucky one who gets to initiate this.
That is some triple-A-ness greatness.
There you go. There you go, Dreadful83. Thank you so much for the 5 membership gifts. That really is some AAA-ness greatness. We are ready for the AAA-ness greatness. That will be the PlayStation Showcase. This is why we need Arnold as the official spokesperson for PlayStation. You heard that before? I know. I played it, I think, one other time a long time ago, like sometime last year, but I brought it back. I actually forgot I had it. So it's technically not brand new, but it's new enough. Are you starting to see the year badge for the gifted subs? Actually, I don't know. That's a great question. Has anybody here received a 1-year membership badge, but only, you've been a gifted sub or a gifted member most of the time? I'm sure there's some. But Dreadful, I do appreciate that, man. Thank you for dropping some membership gifts. Guys, let's see if we can get to the 25 goal today. I'd really appreciate it. If we can, oops, I accidentally put it up to 6. My bad. Not a big deal. We are sitting at 5. If we could get to 25, we'll feed this guy here. Devil Shooter, you're saying me. Devil Shooter, it said, I don't see a membership badge next to your name, though. I believe you, though. Maybe it just hasn't updated. Or saying, oops, it's gone. Oh. Guys, come on. We need to get Devil Shooter a membership badge here. We need to get his badge back. It's the least we could do for him. Devil, dude, if I had the ability to specifically like hand out membership gifts or badges to people, I would definitely give Devil Shooter one. But YouTube doesn't allow that. Like I can't choose who gets a membership gift. Meet the Cheater says 11 months and 28 days. Damn. 2 more days. Good stuff, man. I'm waiting for my year badge as well. Joshua says, MBG, I paid some months, but most months are gifted from this awesome community. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I know I know not everybody can pay each month to, you know, remain a member, and they try to when they can. But that's what's awesome about this community is you guys give out so many membership gifts. A lot of people are able to continue to access the members lounge and the posts, and you know, anytime we do membership only stuff, I know a lot of you guys very much appreciate those gifts. And Dreadful83 here with a $5 super chat as well says, doing a great job, MBG, on lunch, play Stella Blade on my portal. That's awesome, dude. I'm telling you, man, the PlayStation Portal, for the people who bought it, like they knew, like this is for me, they're getting good use out of it. I'm still seeing that. I'm not seeing it as frequently, of course, because I mean, it's, you know, we're somewhat removed from the launch, but anybody who did buy the portal, like they're genuinely using it. Like not in just some kind of, oh, I just bought this new product, so I'll use it for a couple weeks. Like, no, they're really getting seemingly their money's worth out of it and getting good use from it. I've been seeing more people specifically talking about them using the portal when they're away from home. And that's cool, man. It makes me realize that I think Sony understood that there definitely was, even if it was a small audience, there definitely was an audience for this specific product. I still haven't gotten mine yet. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I do still want to get one and try it out. The dude says I have a year badge. Oh, well, there you go. But Dreadful, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the kind words. This genuinely feels like the calm before the storm, you know? It really does, especially hearing that the showcase could be announced at any moment. It's like, damn, dude. Come on. Someone will gift me, just ask nicely. New badges when I can't give you an ETA on that. I know what they're going to look like, but I don't know when it'll be ready to go. And I have a feeling when people see the new badges, whenever they do come out, some people are going to be very confused at what they're looking at. But as soon as I tell you what you're looking at, you'll realize, oh, that makes perfect sense. At least that's my hope anyway. It could go the other way. It could be disastrous. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping that when I drop the new badges, people are like, oh, nice. Yeah, they're just Xbox logos. And the 4-year membership badge is just a picture of Phil Spencer's face. So, yeah, it'll all make sense. DJ Bruntmeyer, member for 10 months, says, definitely hyped for the showcase. Are you going to try to live stream it 10 months strong? I'm hyped too, and absolutely, bro. Dude, I'm going to do like an 8-hour stream. All right, maybe not 8 hours, but I'm streaming. Yeah, I'm streaming the showcase. Absolutely. And here we go. There's a gnat in here. Every year around this exact time, the gnat shows up again. It's from the, dude, it's super humid outside. That's what it is. It's from the humidity. If you know, you know, man. Boss attack. Proceeds to just continue sleeping. But yeah, I'm super hyped for the showcase as well, man. I think Wolverine's going to be at the showcase too. I do want to mention this. I have another article here. Marvel's Wolverine gameplay continues to trickle out following the ransomware attack that happened to Insomniac Games in December of last year. Over the last week alone, Sony Interactive Entertainment has shut down several leaks, but more links to gameplay videos are consistently popping up on sites like Reddit. The leaked gameplay video shows weapons, combat, boss fights, and mechanics like Rage Mode. Sony is struggling to contain the leaks, as evidenced by the videos that are being shared and that have been up on YouTube for a while now. And they're not embedding any of it, and we're not going to watch any of it. But we're probably looking at, I would assume, earlier builds or still like rough builds of the game when we see this gameplay. But the fact that Sony is now kind because I have noticed Sony has seemingly started taking down a lot of this stuff more quickly than they normally would. It tells me that they might be getting ready to finally show some more Wolverine at the showcase, and they're trying to remove as much of it from the internet now. But I am still excited. I mean, look, I have my concerns about Insomniac Games, which we've talked about. I'm not going to bother getting into it at this point. It's just not worth it. But I have my concerns. I have my reservations. And I do have my concerns about Wolverine. But I've always said, and I will continue to say, that I'm willing to see what they're making here. You know, I did see some of these leaked gameplay clips, and it looks good. Like, I got to be honest. It does look good. I don't know anything about the story. I didn't dig into the leak that far because I don't want to spoil anything for myself, but the gameplay I'm seeing so far does look pretty good. And you know, if I play the game or I see the trailer and I get this vibe from the story where I'm like, what are they doing? Yeah, that'll be a different conversation, but I'm trying my best to have some hope and be optimistic, because I can't deny that Wolverine is one of my favorite characters. Like, dude, my hype level for Deadpool and Wolverine is extremely high. And, you know, I can't deny that I want this game to be awesome. I do. I really do. But I do think, yeah, Wolverine seems like a pretty safe bet, I would assume, at this upcoming showcase. Jerry Gamer, I hope not. I hope not. You know, I'm gonna just try to go in blind, as blindly as I can. Please don't do this to me. Don't do it. I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's going to be such a struggle, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, think about Wolverine as a character. Like, if the game is truly centered around Logan, around the character of Logan and Wolverine, I feel like you can only go so far with that, where it's like, dude, there are just certain things like that have to be a certain way. Like, they have to. Because if not, you're not being true to the character or his story, or, you know, like what people expect. So, this freaking gnat, it's so tiny, dude. I don't think it's even coming up on camera. The jokes will suck. Well, I hope Insomniac and Sony take a good look at what Disney is doing with Deadpool and Wolverine. Rated R Disney movie, where they're not holding back, and it's like, people want that. People want that. Yes, Gaming Survivor, the Nat is back. ACM comes in with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, ACM. Saying, imagine PlayStation Showcase opens with a newly acquired studio, Tango Gameworks. Unfortunately, that's not a possibility, ACM. I mean, it could, you know, maybe like Tango Software or something, but Tango Gameworks is officially gone for good. And that's what makes yesterday's news so depressing, is that Microsoft could have sold the studio. Oh, you know what? You just reminded me, ACM. I really want to read this post that somebody made. I think it really puts in perspective how shitty Microsoft really is for just blatantly shutting down Tango Gameworks. Check this out. This individual on Reddit. Oh, God. I think I swallowed the gnat. This individual on Reddit, Arcanite, says, remember, even Square Enix had to auction the Hitman studio off to those interested buyers after years of performing below the red instead of liquidizing the entire studio, rendering all the developers unemployed. When no other investors expressed interest, they let the studio opt for a management buyout along with the Hitman IP, making them independent. You're telling me that Microsoft, a company worth 1,000 Square Enixes, just straight up shut down a studio who released their best game in more than a decade? Holy shit, dude. Like, that, not to beat a dead horse here, but when I read that, I was like, oh my God, that really does show just how bad it actually is. Where even Square, let, what is it, IO Interactive, they let them be sold off. They let somebody else buy them. They let them, they sold the Hitman IP. And so it gets to live on. Square's like, look, this isn't making us money. This is dead weight to us at this point. But you can go. It's insane that Microsoft didn't even consider that for a studio like Tango Gameworks, because I've seen people clipping me from yesterday where they're trying to convince people that I was laughing at developers and at the developers who got fired and laid off, and I was laughing at the fact that the studio got closed. And this pissed me off because it's like, fuck you. Like, I wasn't laughing at any of that. I was doing quite the opposite. They were actually clipping a section of the stream. You remember when we were talking yesterday about the analogy of in 2013, Xbox fell into a hole, and I was like laughing at the fact that I was going with this weird analogy. And that just pisses me off because it's like no one here is laughing, and no one should be laughing at developers losing their jobs and getting laid off. I don't think anybody finds that funny. I don't think anybody's looking at the fact that Tango Gameworks, a pretty talented studio, is just gone now. Like, just Thanos snapped out of existence. And it just goes to show that, like, there's just some people out there where no matter what you say, they're just going to try to continue to twist it into some fucking distorted, messed up version of that isn't even part, like, it's not even relevant to the actual conversation that's being had. It's sad, dude. It's very sad. So what I've decided is I'm going to start clipping myself. I've had enough. Enough's enough. Okay? I've been seeing people clip me for years now, and all people do is clip shit I'm saying out of context. They only clip the bad things. They only clip the bad takes, and anytime I say something good or worthwhile or interesting, they usually ignore it. So I figure, you know what? Hey, I'm going to try to level the playing field here a little bit. I'm going to start putting my own clips out. I feel like that's what I should have been doing this whole time, but now I'm actually going to. And at the very least, I hope it makes it easier for people because I realize the problem here. People struggle with longer streams. You know what I mean? They struggle like, hey, can you come in here and listen to me talk for the next 3.5 hours? I understand that's difficult for a lot of people. Big shout out to those who are here though. But I know that there's a lot of people, most people, they're just coming across these 30-second, 5-minute, however long the clips might be. Like, they're usually not that long, but they're very short and bite-sized. And these are clips that are being created to paint me in a certain light, to make me look a certain way. And I just realized, you know what? I got to at least try to level the playing field here and hope that if I put some other clips out there of my own, where it's like, hey, turns out I have a lot more to say. Turns out I'm not as bad as people are trying to make me out to be. And here's the stuff that they won't show you. I'm hoping that will at least, make some people realize, oh, I wasn't seeing the full picture. That's all. Anyway, ACM, thank you so much for the super chat. We also have Maxwell coming in with the $10 super chat saying the showcase needs to be big. No less than Concord, Fair Games, Marathon, Santa Monica, Bend, Housemarque, Bluepoint, Firesprite, and Naughty Dog, Media Molecule, new IP, Ghost of Tsushima 2 and Wolverine, and Astrobot. Maxwell, I'm going to have to let you down gently here, bro. You're not going to get all that. You okay? Look, we got to be real here. I agree. They need a big showcase. Yes, I absolutely 100% in agreement. Sony cannot come in and half-ass this. They cannot come in and be like, well, we'll just sell 1 or 2 games. No, they have to come in and they have to deliver. However, this is simply too much. You listed, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dude, you listed 13 first parties. Not happening. That's ridiculous to be. I think you know that, Maxwell. You know that. You're not getting 13 first party reveals. However, I think if you cut that in half, then we're talking. Like, I think we're going to see Concord. I think we're going to see Marathon. We might see Fair Games. See, this is where I actually, you know what? Let's not cut it in half. Let's cut it by 1/3. Let's cut it by, yeah. Let's cut it by 1/3 because I think we're going to see Concord, Fair Games, and Marathon. That's 3 first-party games. But I'm going to be real with you. Like, we need to see a lot more than that. That's where it's like, look, Sony, you did this to us last year. Here's 3 live service CG trailers. And that's it. And then here's Spider-Man. Okay, you could do that again. Here's some Concord gameplay. Here's some Fair Games gameplay. Here's some Marathon gameplay. Some gameplay trailers. But yeah, we need to see Santa Monica's new game. We need to see Blue Point's new game. We need to see a new Astrobot. We need to see Ghost of Tsushima 2. And maybe even Wolverine. I don't think it's going to be all of this. I don't think we're going to see Housemarque's new game. Although, see, that's what's so fascinating here is all the things you just listed, though, Maxwell. They're all possible. Well, actually, there's one that I think is not. The only one that I think is not a possibility is Media Molecule's new IP, because I think they just started work on that. So that, I think, is a ways out. So we'll take that one off the table. But everything else, Wolverine, absolutely. Ghost of Tsushima 2, absolutely. Naughty Dog, absolutely. Fire Sprite, yes. Blue Point, yes. Housemarque, question mark. Housemarque is another one that I'm like, well, might be a little too soon. Bend, yes. Santa Monica, yes. Their new IP. Astrobot, yes. They have a lot, man. Like, they do. Irvin says London. Oh, wait. Rip London studio, man. I think it sucks that Sony closed London studio. I think that they should have at least allowed them to try to make a comeback. You know? Spider-Man DLC. Oh, yeah, true. Or the Venom game as well, maybe. That's what makes this so exciting, truthfully, is that everything that you could imagine, there's a good chance, there's a real possibility. The only studios that I would remove entirely are not Santa Monica, Media Molecule, and San Diego studio, because San Diego studio makes MLB. So those 2 studios, yeah, you're not going to see them. Outside of that, though, everything is on the table, man. Everything is on the table. I'm not saying you will see all of those studios, but there's a chance. Some I think are more obvious than others. Like, I will say, Ghost of Tsushima 2, Wolverine. To me, those seem like, yeah, I think those are very safe bets. Something like Blue Point. I don't know if I feel as confident about Blue Point. Like, oh yeah, that's definitely going to happen. But it's like, it definitely can. They've been working on something for a while now. I will say this, though, and this is, I think, important to keep in mind, is it seems clear Sony's going to have 2 showcases this year. All right? I think they're going to have one in May, and I think they're going to have one in September. And I think the September showcase is going to be more focused about, okay, the PS5 Pro is coming. We want to show a couple more new games around that, or new looks at new games that we announced. So because of that, I think we're going to see them kind of divvy it up a little bit here, you know? We will see Guerrilla, by the way. They have a multiplayer game in the works. That has to be revealed soon. It's been 6 years or something like that. So surely we're going to see that. SDO coming in with the super chat saying Halo Infinite on PS5 at a PlayStation showcase. That'd be wild. That would be absolute insanity, dude. That would be insanity. Could you imagine if they're just we're announcing Halo at the PlayStation showcase? And we got Snumpkin here coming in, dropping a direct donation. Thank you for that, saying Xbox won't sell studios because they want control. of the industry, and honestly, they don't care about IPs. They might say that they do, but they're liars. Yeah, well, you know what? Here you go, Irfan. Shout out to you for this clip that I completely forgot about, but oh my god. You want to talk about a clip circulating that just reveals how bad not I don't say how bad, but like how you cannot listen to Phil Spencer ever again. Like you just can't. I'm going to play this clip for you. And Irfan, yeah, you sent me this, or I think you tagged me in it. Listen to this, man. Listen to this. This was, by the way, this was May 4th, 2023. Almost exactly 1 year ago.
One thing I won't do is push against creative aspirations of our teams. I'm a huge supporter of Arcane Austin. Their track record is awesome. I love a lot of the great games that they've built. They're a very talented team. I love that team, and I still do. And I will totally bet on them to do another great game.
Oh my God. Like, I honestly had to do a double take when I came across that clip, because I'm like, that is... Look, I know things change, but man, that is bad. Like, I love this team. I love the studio, and I believe in them, and I even believe in their next game. And it's like literally 1 year later, yeah, we got rid of them. Like, eesh. That is a bad look, man. So, I think it's at a point now where, dude, Phil Spencer, I don't think he's going to get fired. I think he's still going to be part of the board of Microsoft, but I just think the days of him saying anything and anybody actually listening, I think that's over. I think Sarah Bond's going to have to be the new face of the Xbox brand, and Phil's just going to be more of like the upper executive now, which is weird to think, but I think that's how this is going to go, because that's bad. So, yeah, Jim Ryan was at the London studio party, but we'll never know what he said. He could have been walking around there being like, bye. I don't mean to laugh, but it's just, I'm not trying, like, it's not funny, but it's just, I think what it is it's like this uncomfortable reaction, right? Where it's like, this is kind of silly, but then you realize that, like, dude, these are people that are just, they're saying these things and they're behaving in this way, but they're also just out here straight up like slicing and dicing people's livelihoods and shit. It's like, it's again, it's like cartoonishly bad. Like, is this real right now? Unfortunately, it is. Well, SDO, that would be crazy, man. What would be crazier? I want to ask you guys this question. What would be a crazier sight to see? An Xbox game reveal for PlayStation at a PlayStation event, or an Xbox game reveal for PlayStation at an Xbox event? Which would be crazier to see? Because let's not forget, Microsoft is in this to get as many eyes on their games as possible. Dude, Sony will get more viewership. They will get more viewership. So I will say that I think it's a little bit more likely that if there is going to be an Xbox game reveal for PlayStation, I think it's more likely to occur at the PlayStation event, truthfully. I mean, that'd be some next level fucking like, whoa. Yeah, dude, I'm like imagining this fantasy PlayStation showcase where it's like, here's GTA 6. Yes, that's right. We brought GTA 6 to the PlayStation showcase. Here's Ghost of Tsushima 2. Here's more Metal Gear. That's for me. Here's a bunch of other shit that looks awesome. Oh, and by the way, here's Halo Master Chief Collection for PS5. Like, what? Oh, yeah. Devil Shooter, thank you for the reminder. Devil Shooter says Nintendo showed Xbox games. Remember that. Great point. Oh, man. Oh, man. Dude, you really got me thinking now. This is a real possibility now more than ever. Holy shit. That will be insane. That would be an insane moment. Maybe Starfield. I don't know. Gears Marcus Phoenix Collection remastered. Jakey Steve says hold the hole. I think you got your terminology mixed up there, man. Oh, excuse me. Starfield director's cut. Director's cut, man. I feel like Sony dropped that, right? Sony dropped the director's cut terminology. I don't think that was I don't know. I think they should have stuck with that, though. Maybe Sony decided to drop the director's cut terminology because it was confusing people. People are too used to the, remastered remake terminology. So if it doesn't say remastered or remake, then they're like, what is this? Is this a movie? What's going on here? Yeah, Death Stranding seemed to have been the last one. Even Kojima thought the director's cut was dumb. He didn't like it. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they probably just dropped it. They're like, this isn't working out. Man, I really hope that I know I sound like I know I sound completely like a broken record right now, and I will continue to sound like a broken record until the day comes, but man, I really hope Sony fucking kills it with this showcase that they got cooking, because we need that, dude. We do. I'm not going to bullshit anybody. Like, I don't care how good you think PlayStation's been doing. We need a great showcase. We absolutely need that. It's totally necessary at this point. What is the showcase information? So just to reiterate for anybody who's just joining, Jeff Grubb, he said last month that there was going to be some kind of PlayStation showcase in May. He gave us an update yesterday, and he said the PlayStation showcase is happening this month still, but whether it's next week or the week after, I honestly don't know. It could be at the end of the month, but I wouldn't be surprised if this actually does happen next week. It could happen at any moment. So he got further confirmation from his source that, yeah, it's green light, like it's happening. It's good to go. What do I want to see the most? It's a great question. I think what I want to see the most is Ghost of Tsushima 2. Just because, like, that's one of my all-time favorite games, and I feel very confident that it's going to be there. I don't want to say, like, I could replace that with, like, I want to see Santa Monica's new IP the most, but I feel like that's way too, I feel confident in putting my faith in Ghost of Tsushima 2 because it is going to be one of my favorite games, and I think it's going to blow people away. And that's the game I absolutely, like, yes, I want to see it. I also want to see more Metal Gear, though. I don't know, maybe Konami will show up with the Metal Gear Collection Volume 2 with MGS4, finally. Or maybe they'll show some more Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. It's hard to choose, man. It's anything Final Fantasy. I don't think so, honestly. I don't think Final Fantasy is going to show up this time. I mean, it still could, yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like we're just coming off the launch of FF7 Rebirth, so it's like, maybe if they have some kind of DLC for it, maybe that'll show up. Final Fantasy, is that 10 remake? Silent Hill will be there. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, this showcase has a lot of potential. Last year's showcase also had a lot of potential, but here's something I want to remind people of, and this is important. It is. Okay? We need to remember that last May, I think it was May 24th, Sony had their showcase, and it was a letdown. Let's not forget that was in the middle of Sony fighting tooth and nail to stop the Activision Blizzard acquisition, to interfere with it. And you have to remember that during that time, Sony was basically trying to convince all of these regulators that, man, this is going to be doom for us, It's impending doom if you let this, if you let this go through. And it did lead me and others to speculate, like, is there a chance Sony might hold back because of this? And I'm not saying they did. Look, all I'm trying to say is that shit's gone. That shit's over. Like, there's nothing getting in Sony's way at this point. There's no reason. I'm not saying they held back, but what I will say is it's a possibility. We won't know. But I also want to point out that, keep in mind, we heard shortly after that from multiple sources that Sony's planning a second showcase, and that never happened. And I have to think, why would Sony want to do a second showcase, but then maybe at the last minute say, you know what, never mind. Again, they likely said, we're not doing a second showcase because this stuff is still going on. The litigation's still happening. So we're just gonna wait to see how it ends. And we saw how it ended, and Sony lost. Microsoft got what they wanted. So if there was ever a time for Sony to just kick the fucking door down, say, all right, we're back, bitches, this is the time. We got Titus here coming in, dropping a membership gift. Titus.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for that, man. We were sitting at 5. I would add it to the counter, but you just actually officially brought us to 6. So thank you for that. And Devil Shooter was gifted. Look at that. Titus did it, bro. YouTube is listening. Devil Shooter got his year badge thanks to Titus. You love to see it. And Titus with the super chat as well, saying here, hi, MBG. Sorry I missed the last couple of streams. What is your opinion about Stellar Blade, and are you excited for Lost Soul Aside? Hope everyone is fine. No need to apologize, man. I'm just glad you can catch the streams when you can. I'm really enjoying Stellar Blade. I think it's a great game. I think it might be the best game I've played so far this year. And when it comes to Lost Soul Aside, I think it looks promising. Yeah, I was watching some gameplay recently when I was making a video. I think like a week ago at this point. And I was like watching some of the gameplay. I'm like, damn, this does look really good. So that's another game that might show up at the PlayStation Showcase. The sky really is the limit here, people. Although the game Lost Soul Aside, it was officially rated in China. And that seems to indicate that we're going to be hearing something very soon. Like at a showcase. WTF indeed, Dan. WTF indeed. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. What are you talking about? But Lost Soul Aside, I'm thinking we'll get like maybe a release date trailer at the showcase. Irfan says, I've seen nothing. Project Awake. Dude, if Project Awakening shows up, that's going to be amazing. Just because, like, man, we haven't seen that game since like 2016. That would be amazing. All right, let me see here. So I'm checking to see if any other info has come out about the showcase. I have to imagine Sony is doing everything they possibly can to ensure nothing leaks out. Because if it's true that the showcase is happening very soon, possibly the next week or two, right now is when things are most likely to leak. And I don't really want them to be honest. I would be totally cool if nothing leaks. But I have to admit, like, if anything is going to leak, I have to admit, it would be cool if just one big thing leaked. Nothing, like, for example, if it's like Jeff Grubb or Jason Schreier, just somebody, Tom Henderson, somebody really reliable, and they're like, yeah, Santa Monica's going to reveal their new IP. That would be pretty pretty awesome. You know, like they don't say what it is. They just confirm like it's going to be there. I would appreciate that leak because it would give me a reason to feel very excited going into it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's true. The leak did ruin the Metal Gear reveal. I think Resident Evil 9 might be there as well. Pragmata. Yeah, I could see Pragmata being there. We haven't seen that in a while. Pragmata would be cool. New IP from Capcom. Waleed is now a game cat says, my son plays on the Portal. He uses it as his PS5 in his home office. That's awesome, dude. This is what I'm saying, man. It has its uses. It definitely does. I'm looking forward to when I eventually get a Portal. I really want to know if Sony is going to actually make a new dedicated handheld. That's really what I want to know. I think a lot of people want to know that. And Titus comes in and drops a second membership gift for you guys. Titus is like, you know what? Let's do 2 today. Let's go for it. Titus, I do appreciate that, man. He just brought us up to 7 members on the day. Good stuff. Good stuff, dude. And you have another super chat here as well where you say, thanks for your opinion. Stellar Blade is my personal game of the year, and I'm really excited for Lost Soul Aside. P.S. My cat watches Boss sleeping. You're not the first person to tell me that. Other people have told me that their cats or their dogs like interact a little bit, or at the very least notice Boss on the stream sometimes. That's pretty funny. I love it. But yeah, man, Stellar Blade, I'm not saying I expect it to be in the running for Game of the Year because it's still early, but it is, for me, one of the better games I played so far this year from what I played of it. Very good game. Metal Gear Solid 4 Remaster, that would be amazing. And we also have Waleed is now a game cat, specifically White Tiger, once again saying RE9 could be massive for Sony 2, also very likely for VR 2. That's true. Yeah, Resident Evil 9, I am feeling pretty confident it'll show up during the showcase because the timing feels right. And we know that Capcom has kind of had this, they've had this deal with Sony where it's like, yeah, we'll reveal our games, our new Resident Evil games at your State of Plays or your showcases. I think, yeah, Resident Evil Village was revealed during, I think, the first proper PlayStation showcase. And it was a bigger reveal. So we could see that again with Resident Evil 9. There was another leak, by the way, for Resident Evil 9 that I don't know how I feel about this, but the setting and the location leaked out. Let me see if I can find it. It just leaked out the other day. Let me see. Can't be that far down, can it? Dust Golem says, well, Dust Golem's the one who said that Resident Evil 9 is set to be revealed soon. It's going to be set on an island in the Southeast Asia Sea. Fictional rural, if I could say that word, rural town on an island in the Southeast Asia Sea, inspired by Singapore specifically. So what do you guys make of that? Like, it sounds to me like it's not going to be a city. I don't know. Is it going to be? People were saying that sounds like it could possibly be some. Well, no, because it says, hold on, kind of like a small town on an island. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a city. We have the Spine Rip here with a $5 super chat saying, I desperately want to see a Ghost of Tsushima 2 reveal. A nice surprise would be a remake of the original God of War. Yeah, there was a rumor of a potential original God of War remake. I don't think it would be a remaster. I think it would actually be some kind of remake. That would be quite the surprise. And I will tell you, like, I think that is going to happen at some point. I don't know that I would expect that to be announced this year, but I think that's something Sony definitely wants to make happen, because recently we got all of the digital sales data for every PlayStation game. For every PlayStation game. And I wish people... I understand why most people are not going to look at that data because it's a lot to look at and it's a lot to take in. But what that data reveals is that, dude, a lot of these games that people talk about, like, they just don't sell nearly as well as you would think. And when you look at that data, it becomes abundantly clear. Like, this is why Sony and Nintendo probably as well, like, this is why they do a lot of remasters and remakes, because they sell well. And the established, heavy hitter games that sell well, it's when you look at the numbers, it's like, wow, okay. I'm not saying that means you should be excited for it. I'm just saying it very clearly illustrates and explains, like, oh, so this is why. So God of War is all over those charts. Like, God of War has made Sony a lot of money, and has sold so well. So I imagine them greenlighting like a remake of the original game at some point. I do think that will happen. And as I said earlier, I absolutely think Ghost of Tsushima 2 will be shown at the showcase. No room for creativity in the industry. I think there is definitely room for creativity in the industry. I just think there's not a lot of room right now. I think this is a time, for as shitty as it sounds, but I just think it's the truth. I think this is a time where most publishers are only they're going to make safe bets. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to take many risks because things are just not good. The money is not flowing the way it was before. So because of that, these video game publishers are going to be much more careful about what they choose to greenlight and what they choose to pursue. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be bad, but it does usually mean that the creativity will be a little bit less. Hopefully that's not the case with PlayStation, though, because I think the good news is that most of the new creative stuff that PlayStation greenlit was greenlit a couple years ago, like before this current situation, So Irfan says, MBG update, the new Rockstar page was just taken down, but the code with the placeholders remains in the database that was made public yesterday. Oh, interesting. So it almost seems like there might be something to it if they felt the need to take it down, but the code's still there. Uh-oh. Did they spoil it? Interesting. Yeah, I'm really curious to see if we hear from GTA 6 in the coming weeks. The timing seems right, man. Captain Oyster says, hey man, keep up the good work. I'm a little behind in the stream, but I want a Final Fantasy Tactics game remastered or a new one. I think a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster is in the works. But thank you, I appreciate that. We also have Chris Brown here saying, with 2 super chats, crazy how 343 Industries destroyed Halo 3 times and is still there, but Bethesda/ZeniMax Studios aren't. How is management getting a pass? Please have RE9 be PSVR 2 ready. Sony has to. I will say that would be huge for PSVR 2, I think. Capcom might be the savior of PSVR 2 if they announce Resident Evil 9 and then they make it known that, like, just like they did with RE4 Remake, yeah, we're going to have like a PSVR 2 version, like, ready to go. I don't know. Well, to be clear, I don't know that would, like, cause a major surge in PSVR 2 sales, but it would help a lot. Like, PSVR 2 needs that. And when it comes to what you said about Halo and 343 Industries, yeah, I don't quite understand. 343 Industries has proven, at least to me, that they really just don't know exactly what they're doing management-wise. And Bonnie Ross was, she left, and they kind of rebooted the studio. They basically gutted the studio, and they started over. I haven't played Halo in many, many, many years. And people have told me with Halo Infinite that it's actually very good, like the gameplay, that the multiplayer is very good and maybe the best it's ever been, but it's just one of these scenarios where they messed up at the start, and by the time they really got it together, it was a little bit too late. We know that the next Halo is being developed in Unreal Engine going forward. They're not doing their own engine, which is smart. So I would say the only reason 343 Industries is still around and why Microsoft is willing to give them another chance is because I think Halo is just it's still one of their biggest IPs, and I think what it comes down to is Microsoft wouldn't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they would know who to give it to. And they probably just feel like, all right, look, 343 needs to be rebooted, and we need to set them straight management wise. But they still are the ones most familiar with Halo. And yeah, I don't know who else they would give it to. So I think it's just the sheer fact that Halo is still important to Microsoft. And it's also interesting to think, like, I think there was a job posting that seemingly revealed that the next Halo game is also being developed, like, with PlayStation in mind. Give it to Bungie, yeah. Yeah, that would be a hell of a way to go about it. But yeah, I think their job listing revealed it's going to be developed in Unreal Engine, and they're developing it, like they said, like it's multi-platform. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see what the future of Halo ends up looking like. But speaking of Microsoft, though, there was something else that I didn't cover yesterday, but this came out, and man, when it rains, it pours for Microsoft, because Jeff Grubb also seemingly revealed that Perfect Dark is in a very rough state, and it sounds like it's basically it's a strong term, but it sounds like it might be like a dumpster fire situation going on at Microsoft Studio, The Initiative. Reminder: The Initiative was announced in 2018, and I think a year or two later, they announced they're doing a Perfect Dark reboot. And this is being reported from the Gaming Leaks Rumors subreddit. The full quote: the fallout from this, that being today's layoffs, been hearing more and more, been hearing for years that Perfect Dark is in a rough state. It sounds like it's in a very rough state. And it doesn't sound like it's really coming together in any way since then, since the announcement. And Crystal Dynamics is coming on board to help on that. It sounds like they don't even know if that's what they want to do with that. Jeff Grubb was asked, or I guess regarding, is it going to be a first-person game or not? Jeff Grubb says that they haven't even decided. Like, they don't know what they want to do, which is insane. And then other people chimed in. Shinobi said that lines up with what he's heard. And then we have Alex Donaldson. He says, LMAO, I have some crazy stories about the development of that game. Well, let me give you more context here. Somebody here says, I hear the quadruple A Perfect Dark is progressing nicely. What are you talking about? And Alex Donaldson, who is I guess he's a gaming journalist of some kind. He says, LMAO, I have some crazy stories about the development of that game. I have not put in print out of respect for a team really trying hard to push a boulder up a steep hill, but my patience is getting thin. So he's basically saying that he has some crazy stories about the studio and Perfect Dark, and the only reason he hasn't really reported on it yet is because it sounds like he feels kind of bad for the studio, because it's just they're trying to do something that's difficult and it's just not working out. But he seems to indicate he might be doing a report on it soon. And Liam Robertson says, from what little I've heard about the development of the new Perfect Dark, it sounds like a future video in the making, just a big protracted mess. So I tried telling people, man. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. It's certainly not. It's clearly very difficult, but I don't think this game's ever going to see the light of day. I wouldn't be surprised if the initiative gets shut down next, because that's like that studio was created to create a massive AAA title. Like, that studio was created to try to compete against like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica, and it's like, we're hearing from insiders and journalists that, like, dude, that game isn't even like a thing. You're saying VGC has a really interesting article? Let me go check. Is it the opinion, how can any Xbox studio trust Microsoft now? Interesting. It's hold on. Okay, this is an opinion piece. It's now clear that when Microsoft completed its $75 billion buyout of Activision Blizzard in October last year, it fundamentally changed the makeup of its Xbox division, and in the process put all of its other studios in jeopardy. We already saw one impact of the acquisition in January when Microsoft laid off over 1,900 staff from the Xbox division. CEO Phil Spencer said at the time that affected staff were in identified areas of overlap with the newly acquired studios. However, I suspect the studios Microsoft closed this week were shuttered for an altogether different but no less depressing reason: continued revenue growth. Purchasing Activision Blizzard has done more than put a huge debt on Microsoft's ledger. It's also significantly increased the Xbox division's revenue. That may not sound like much of a problem, but it shifts the scale of everything the company does and needs to do to continue growing. Reading Microsoft's quarterly earnings report can give you a sense of how significant the change has been. In January, in the first filing since the Activision Blizzard acquisition was completed, Xbox's content and services revenue grew by 60%, 55% of which came from the newly owned teams. The revenue from Activision Blizzard's games now makes up more than a third of all the money from the Xbox division. All of the studios Microsoft had previously bought, including Minecraft maker Mojang, and the $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax, the publisher of Bethesda Softworks, id Software, and Machine Games, have been dwarfed by the addition of Activision Blizzard. For a sense of the difference, in the previous year's financial report, Microsoft said a 5% growth equated to $36 million. So 55% growth is in the region of $400 million after the Activision Blizzard buyout was completed on October 13th last year. Xbox became a fundamentally different and larger company operating on a different scale than before. To satisfy shareholders, Microsoft must continue showing growth. Anything less than increasing revenues looks like a failure, impacting the company's share price. We know this is on Xbox CEO Phil Spencer's mind because he said as much in March of this year. The thing that has me the most concerned for the industry is the lack of growth, Spencer said in an interview with Polygon. When you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, you get a lot of publicly traded companies that are in the industry that have to show their investors growth, because why else does anybody own a share of someone's stock if it's not going to grow? The side of the business that gets scrutinized is the cost side, because if you're going to grow the revenue side, then the cost side becomes challenged. The problem Microsoft faces, and it was one entirely of its own making, is that it now owns a string of studios working on games that, when compared to Activision Blizzard's titles, will barely move the needle in terms of revenue growth. For evidence of this change, look at a statement coming from Xbox marketing VP Aaron Greenberg made in April last year before the ABK acquisition. Speaking of Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush, he said the game was a breakout hit for us and our players and is in all key measurements and expectations. Yesterday, Microsoft closed the studio. What was a success last year has clearly been recontextualized by the new scale Microsoft is working to. The cost side of Tango Gameworks became challenged in light of the updated balance book. This puts every one of Microsoft's earlier acquisitions in a horrible position. In Exile, Double Fine, Undead Labs, Ninja Theory, and Obsidian Entertainment all make fantastic games, some of which have been massive hits for the studios of their scale, but put alongside World of Warcraft and Call of Duty, they're small fry. Even if it's profitable, how many copies will Hellblade 2 need to sell for Ninja Theory's title to look like a worthwhile cost alongside the revenue generated by the next Call of Duty? There's been little sense to Microsoft's strategy in the past decade. It seems to be simply acquire whatever it can lay its hands on with little regard for the studios it already owns or the titles they're working on. Imagine being in Obsidian Entertainment's shoes right now. When it was acquired by Microsoft in 2018, it was put to work on a first-person fantasy RPG that was to appeal to the same players as the Elder Scrolls series. Although set in a world of the Pillars of Eternity games, its shift in perspective effectively made it a new franchise, and the budget and sale expectations would have been set to that reality. Then in 2021, Microsoft acquired Bethesda and the Elder Scrolls series, so now Obsidian is making a game that competes with another studio in its owner's portfolio. When Avowed releases later this year, its earnings will sit on a spreadsheet that includes a game it has little hope of surpassing in the first iteration. Higher up on the sheet still, there will be multiple Activision Blizzard games that all earn significantly more. Many of Microsoft's studios are in a similar position. They're committed to multi-year development cycles of games that no longer live up to the scale of Microsoft's shareholder demand. In a statement announcing yesterday's studio's closure, Xbox Game Studio head Matt Booty said these changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games. This is speculation on my part, but I wonder now more than ever if Obsidian's future will involve a shift from Avowed and the Outer Worlds to the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. It's what shareholders will be asking, and Phil Spencer has proven himself constant enough to resist that questioning. And that's pretty much the end of it. It says, there's one more line here. As for Microsoft's other studios, what confidence can they now have that fit into the updated forecasts of Xbox's future? So, yeah, pretty interesting read there, Irfan. I gotta say, I must have missed that yesterday. It's a pretty good opinion piece, but yeah. Yep. That seems to be the current situation, man. Like, if I was a smaller studio underneath Microsoft, I'd be shaking. I would be. I'd be shaking, and I would anticipate that, well, we're not long for this world anymore, Fake Man Bear Pig says, keep doing what you do, MBG. Ignore the haters. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'll keep it going. My bad. Yeah, I didn't bring the article up on screen. Well, it was a long read. I didn't expect it to be that long, but it was interesting. A different angle, I would say, that I didn't really consider. When I think about Microsoft's current position, I didn't really consider, these smaller studios, how it's like, yeah, they are going to have to compete with these other behemoth studios, with these behemoth juggernaut IPs. And, people yesterday were questioning. They're like, man, what's going to happen to Hellblade 2? What's going to happen to Ninja Theory? And that's a great question to be asking, because I don't know. I don't know, man. It'll be a damn shame if Ninja Theory's next up on the chopping block. That's why people were freaking out so much yesterday, because they were like, dude, Hi-Fi Rush was a huge success. Like, it was highly praised. Boss, what are you doing, bro? And it didn't matter. The dude, member for 12 months, says, Phil has built a house of cards with all the lies, broken promises. Hold on. Let me try this again. You're saying Phil has built a house of cards with all the lies, broken promises, and non-answers. Xbox will eventually fall apart as lies and bullshit cannot keep you up. I will say this. You're right, but I don't think Xbox will eventually fall apart. At least, well, listen, something very substantial would have to happen. I mean, something huge for Xbox to fall apart at this point. It is possible. You're saying Microsoft won't allow it? That's the problem, though, man, is like, it's not totally in Microsoft's control. Microsoft... I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to give Boss some snacks a little bit early. Oh, my God. There's no way you just did that, Boss. Dude, he just jumped on my leg and, like, his claws, bro. Boss, I would really appreciate it if you, like, don't attack me when I'm just trying to give you some snacks. And we didn't even hit our goal. You're welcome. I think I'm going to give him some catnip, too, just to calm him down before he starts getting crazy again. King Sam says, still annoyed and upset about Tango, F Microsoft, F Xbox. Yeah, I hear you, man. It really does suck. That was one of the few studios, truthfully, that Microsoft had acquired that I was like, I'm interested in their future. I may not be interested in Hi-Fi Rush, but I definitely am interested in the studio's future and what else they could maybe make. But I will say that Microsoft basically just bought what they believe to be surefire, guaranteed hits. They bought Call of Duty. They bought The Elder Scrolls. They bought the next Fallout. And of course, like, when you look at that, you think, okay, it's too big to fail. Like, you paid for guaranteed success, but that's not how this works. Like, nothing is guaranteed. It's, for now, it's guaranteed. Like, this year's Call of Duty is going to do great. Next year's, it's guaranteed for a little while, but eventually it could fall apart. Call of Duty can fall apart. It's not impossible for that to happen. Give it enough time. If enough mismanagement happens, suddenly the yearly release schedule stops because the games just aren't ready and it throws everything off. And I tried to tell people that, like, you know, when Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, like, dude, Bobby Kotick, shitty person, clearly, shitty executive in terms of just being, I guess, the exact way you would imagine an executive in that position would be. But I also said, like, he also knew what he was doing, you know? Like, he knew the type of machine that he was in charge of running. And that's the difference right now, is Microsoft doesn't know. Microsoft has no fucking idea what's required to keep that Call of Duty machine well-oiled and running smoothly. They don't know. What Microsoft is doing right now is they're praying that everybody that they just acquired that's already there knows what they're doing. And just keep doing it, guys. Like, whatever you were doing up until now, keep doing that. But as soon as something goes wrong, Microsoft's not going to know how to fix the problem. And that should be obvious to everybody. That's the biggest thing I've tried to tell people when it comes to Microsoft game studios this entire time. I tried to tell people, like, you can't pay for that. You just can't. Money can't buy experience and knowledge that comes from that experience. You can't. Like, you could try to hire people that have that, but even then, it's like when you're talking about scaling this high, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. Especially when a lot of people are just, they're realizing, like, I can just get my payout and leave. Like, I don't have to be here for this shit show. I'm out. You're talking about the people with the most experience and the most knowledge. So I'm not saying Call of Duty can be killed. I don't think it can be killed. I think the brand's too strong. I'm just saying it can be reduced quite a bit. I'm not saying that that's what will happen. I'm just simply saying that, dude, I don't know how anybody could put any amount of faith in Microsoft as a video game publisher. They don't know how to manage studios. They don't know how to manage big properties. They couldn't even manage Halo. And yet people are going to sit here and think that the future of Call of Duty looks bright underneath Microsoft. The future of the Elder Scrolls looks bright underneath Microsoft. I don't think so. Boss, you're making me mad now, bro. Why are you knocking my shit down? What are you, some kind of X-bot? You don't like what I got to say about Microsoft? You should see him right now. He's knocking shit off my... Come on. He's got, like, catnip on his nose. He's all, like, messed up. He wants to fight, is what he wants. He's crazy. Boss is crazy, man. Ragu Bagu says it feels more like Activision acquired Xbox. Yeah. Yeah, right? Right? It does. It really does. That's true. And King Sam, you're saying, where's the Hellblade 2 marketing? Isn't it out soon? I think it's obvious. They're not spending marketing money on a game like that. They're not. This is why I'll never be able to see. Look, you remember when I talked to you guys about Hellblade 2, how imagine if Sony had acquired Ninja Theory. I'm not saying that this is exactly what Ninja Theory would have wanted, but maybe it would have been necessary, at least for them to exist under a major publisher and not be independent anymore. What Sony would have done is at least encourage them, like, listen, you guys have something that could be much bigger here. Like, we can help you make this bigger than it is and realize its full potential in the AAA market with a character like Senua and this world you've created. And that's what they would have done. And it would have helped, Ninja Theory get to that point. Microsoft, and to be honest, I thought that that's what Microsoft was going to try to do with Ninja Theory, but it's clear that they're like, we don't know how to do that, so we can't do that. And because of that, we are now looking at a Ninja Theory that has worked on Hellblade 2 for like 7 years. Or has it been longer than 7 years? I don't know. It's been at least 7 years, and it's going to be an 8-hour experience. And there's no fanfare for it. There's no marketing. There's no hype. Or at least minimal hype. And to me, that shows a complete failure on Microsoft's side, where it's like, as far as I'm concerned, Microsoft, like, you bought them years ago. You bought them in like 2017 or 2018, and you had all this time to really do something to like get people excited about this game, for this game, to really, and it just goes to show, like, they don't know what they're doing, man. I can't. I'm going to be tuning into Xbox's showcase, of course, and I want to be a little bit excited for some of the stuff they're going to show, and maybe they will have some good stuff to show. But I just know that I'm looking at a hollow video game publisher that is just not, they just don't really know what they're doing. All they really have known how to do is buy things and slowly destroy them. That's basically it. I have no respect for that. But at the same time, like, I can't do anything about it. They're still here. They're still doing that. And it's just a part of this industry. Half of Bethesda gone overnight. Yeah, I want to see. Remember when all the infographics were being made by the obnoxious Xbox fans? Remember they were making all the fan-made pictures of all the studios and everything else? All right, update that, please. Is it, I don't know. That's just sad. It is. It's sad to see that this has been allowed to happen this way, but there's nothing anybody can do, man. There's nothing anybody can do. And that's the sad part about it. That's the saddest part about it. It is what it is. Sim Particle, member for 14 months, says, seeing all these former mega Xbox fans completely switching lanes is fulfilling the Sony takeover prophecy. Cerny, save us. Cerny will save us. Cerny will deliver us. Yeah, no, that's been crazy to see too. Can't really blame them. Can't blame them. The reason why I still have hope for Sony is because Sony hold on. Boss, you need to go, dude. You can't go back there. The reason why I still have some faith in Sony is because as of right now, they haven't done the worst possible thing, in my opinion. The worst possible thing Sony could do is make shitty games from just consistently produce underwhelming games from their studios. Like, I understand that Spider-Man 2 wasn't for everybody, but Sony didn't just put out Spider-Man 2 this year or this generation. As far as I'm concerned, Sony still has a lot of very talented studios that, more importantly, at least this is the hope. And this is why I'm talking about the PlayStation Showcase, because we got to see it for ourselves. We got to see it for ourselves. Like, I'm pretty sure they still know what the fuck they're doing. And we're about to see that. Do you get what I'm saying? And yeah, and to be clear, Spider-Man 2 still is significantly better than like anything Microsoft has put out for like the past 10 years. At least seemingly. And that's crazy. Maybe except for like, I don't know, maybe the only game that kind of really matches is like Forza Horizon or something. But they're, at that point the games are so different. It's like, are they even comparable? But bro, you gotta go. Boss, don't make me kick you out. Boss is getting upset. I think Boss is an X-Bot. He's really starting to get finicky over here. Bro, what did I tell? All right, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. He keeps trying to fuck with my modem. Boss, we're gonna rename Boss Bot. Yeah, I'm watching you. He's being bad. Yeah, exactly. He's wilding despite getting snacks and catnip. I think sometimes the catnip has the opposite effect on him. Like he just wants to get aggressive and he wants to like challenge me. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, boss. But yeah, to me this is why I still believe in Sony when it comes to how they take care of their studios. I believe in their studios, and I believe in their ability to still deliver the very exciting types of experiences, or the games that excite me the most, and the games that really are like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. I feel like I can have complete faith in Sucker Punch and the next Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like I can have complete faith that Death Stranding 2 will be awesome, and that Sony identified that, like, yeah, we should definitely try to snag a sequel to this game with Kojima. I still have faith in Naughty Dog. I'm a little bit more trepidatious. Like, no matter what, I know Naughty Dog will make a quality video game, Santa Monica, yeah, it's just like, what reason do I have to believe that these studios, could they shit the bed? Yeah. Oh yeah, Fizzant, of course. Could they shit the bed and really screw up? Yeah. Any studio can. But I don't know, man. I just feel like Sony runs things differently. And I think what it boils down to is they just have a better understanding of how to do this. How to manage studios and help them make really good games. And I just feel like Microsoft was like, we're just going to buy that. And they did. And now we're seeing the trimming of the fat, so to speak. Sorry to put it so bluntly, but that's basically, they're not hiding it. And in the midst of all that, they're basically deciding to do a very similar thing that Sony already decided to do, where Sony made it clear, like, we want to focus on the bigger games and the AAA games because, honestly, this is where we make our money. And this is also what helps drive the most amount of console sales. Microsoft is doing that, but just from a more, less so from the console sales side, but just from the pure money side, right? Where they want to maximize sales as well. And it's weird because it almost seems like, especially knowing that Game Pass is probably not going to be the priority anymore for Microsoft, or at least not nearly as much. It almost seems like Microsoft just basically came full circle and realized that it turns out Sony was kind of right here, where we need big, exciting games consistently. And without them, we're going to struggle, like, severely. And think about it. What is it that people latched onto when Microsoft bought these publishers? The thing that people latched onto is they were like, man, look at these big, exciting games that they just got. And of course, they're like, oh yeah, there's these smaller games too. But now we're very clearly seeing, like, those smaller games don't really matter. Matt Booty said it himself to Bethesda. We're focused on the bigger blockbuster games. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy to me that after all of this, Microsoft just literally came to the same conclusion that Sony had already come to a while ago. But by the time they came to that. The only way they were allowed to come to that same conclusion and do the same thing is they had to pay for it. They had to pay for it. They had to pay like nearly $100 billion for it. That's insane. So, crazy times, man. Crazy times in the gaming industry, as I've continued to say. Microsoft is just not an entertainment company, plain and simple. Yeah, that could be the major difference here. Yeah, that could absolutely be the difference. Sony is rooted in entertainment. They are an entertainment company, and Microsoft is not. So that could be why we still see this on display, where it's like, yeah, Sony's buying things too. To be clear, like Sony's spending money as well. It's not like Sony's just, literally building everything involving PlayStation Studios, like from the ground up internally. Like, no, but they just seem to have a much better understanding of, like, for example, like, I can't wait to see what happens with Housemarque. Housemarque could be 5 to 8 years from now one of the biggest studios in the world. I think that Returnal went a long way in bringing them up, like they stepped it up. Sony wasn't purely responsible for that, but Sony identified that, like, we've been working with these guys for a while and we think they can do more. And they seem to believe they can do more, so we're going to partner with them again, and we're going to give them a bigger budget, and we're going to back them up. And Housemarque delivered, bro. Housemarque did what needed to be done. And I think Returnal clearly put them, in a higher position than they were before, where it's like now they're looked at. I think people have always respected Housemarque, but now they seem to have garnered respect in the AAA space. And there's no doubt that whatever they're working on next, which we know is a new IP, they're going to try to go even further. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, that's not easy to truly identify. And don't get me wrong, Sony fails as well sometimes. Sony makes mistakes too. But I just feel like there are certain mistakes where it's like, okay, when it just seems to be nothing but a string of mistake after mistake after mistake and nothing's actually being learned, that's when things really get concerning, where it's like, you're supposed to be learning from these mistakes, not continually repeating them. And that's why, dude, like, that's why going into the PlayStation, like, look, I know Sony shit. I keep Sony shit, yo. I know I keep using the term Sony shit the bed. I think I really need to find a new term to use. I know Sony screwed up last year with their showcase. We know that. And there were basically two types of people after that showcase occurred. Like, two opinions. Opinion number one, man, that was not a good showcase, or not nearly as good as it could have been. Sony, I know you can do better than that. Opinion number two, man, that showcase was not good. Man, Sony, you suck. Sony lost their way, bro. They don't know what they're doing anymore. And I'm of the first opinion. Like, I know, Sony, this is not, I know you have more than this. I know that. I know you can do much better than this. And I know you're going to. Because how could you not? What are the chances that every one of your studios is just screwing up? Very low. Very low. The problem last year wasn't that Sony's games were problematic. Like, they weren't bad. To be clear, it's not that the games that Sony brought to their showcase last year were bad. It's that they were total question mark unknowns. Like, I don't know who this studio is, or I don't know what this game is. And we weren't told we weren't shown what they are. And B, there just wasn't enough. And that's why I'm convinced that if we get this showcase, it has to be different. Like, it just has to be. Where it's like, it would be, I don't want to say impossible, but man, I feel like Sony would have to really work very hard to match last year's showcase. They would have to work very hard to match last year's showcase. But what are the chances that Blue Point doesn't know what they're doing and they make a bad game? What are the chances that Santa Monica's new IP is going to look terrible? What are the chances that Naughty Dog's next game is just going to be something terrible? You know, what are the chances that Wolverine is going to be a joke? What are the chances that Ghost of Tsushima is going to disappoint people? What are the chances that Fire Sprite's just going to be a huge mistake? What are the chances that Marathon's going to be just completely underwhelming? You see what I'm saying? It would have to be like the perfect storm of shittiness for these things to become true. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's highly, 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 highly unlikely. And there's no reason for me to assume that. That's all. That's all. Saying high chance Wolverine sucks? I hope not. I wouldn't say there's a high chance. Like, listen, man, Spider-Man 2, I think people, I'm going to be, look, I don't want to come off as like a Spider-Man or Insomniac defender, but I'm just being honest. Like, dude, I think people are a little too harsh on Spider-Man 2. Like, people talk about Spider-Man 2 like it is a fucking piece of shit game that is just, like, it has just no good qualities. And I'm like, listen, that's a bit, honestly, it reminds me of the way people talk about The Last of Us Part 2. It's like, dude, I could not stand the story of The Last of Us Part 2. You know this. I'm not going down that road again. You already know how I feel about The Last of Us Part 2 story. But where I drew the line is when people try to shit on the game itself. Like, guys, this is a very well-made video game. Like, the story, in my opinion, is not, I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was bad. I'm just very, like, you already know. But I always defended the game itself, where it's like, dude, these developers absolutely are experts in their craft. And I think if you can't see that, you're delusional or in denial. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like it's a somewhat similar situation with Spider-Man 2, where I would say the quality level of The Last of Us Part 2 is higher than Spider-Man 2, but it's just bizarre to me. Like, I'm just so tired of the black and white. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like, man, there were some things in Spider-Man 2 that I didn't like, so this entire game is fucking trash. It's like, well, guys, I mean, there were things that I didn't like either that I thought were, this is a little cringe, not as good as, I'm not enjoying this as much as the first game. But there were also some awesome moments, and there were quite a few moments where I did enjoy the gameplay. And that's what bothers me about these conversations is people have such extreme black and white takes on everything, where it's like, it's either gold or it's trash. And it's like, dude, most things are not trash. Most things are not gold. Most things are somewhere in the middle. Are there things that are absolutely trash? Yes. Are there things that are absolutely gold? Yes. But 9 times out of 10, most things are in the middle. You know, they have a little bit of gold and a little bit of trash. That's how I see it, you know? And again, I'm not trying to come off as a defender here of it. But it's just like, it's just, I think this black and white conversation surrounding games, I get why sometimes we're going to have those conversations. It's natural. But when they just continue on and on and on, when it's like, all right, guys, like, come on. There's more to all of this than what most people are willing to admit. And that, to me, becomes problematic. Like, when people actually really dig in and are like, no, like, this is trash. It's like, oh, okay. There's no getting through to you. Or like when somebody says, like, no, this is the best thing ever made, period. Like, I don't care to listen to those people or have conversations with them, because in my opinion, like, that's just boring. You know, like that is boring. Imagine, like, so you think this thing is 100% trash and there's no changing your mind. Gee, that sounds like it's going to be a really riveting conversation. Or you think this thing is the best thing ever made in the history of anything. Sounds like it's going to be a riveting conversation. It sounds boring, is what it sounds like. And it sounds single-minded. Or close-minded. That's all. That's all, man. That's all I'm trying to say. There's nothing wrong with having deeper conversations. But everybody has their opinions, you know, and then everybody's entitled to their opinion, no matter what. So that's mine. For those wondering. All right. I feel like I don't know how I see. Sometimes this is like the part of the stream where who knows where I'm going at this point. Craven was amazing in Spider-Man 2. I liked Venom, dude. Like, I didn't think Venom was perfect, but I enjoyed certain segments with Venom, like, where I'm like, damn, if they do make a Venom game, I will be excited for that. I gotta be honest. Oh, God. Well, Titus, I mean, you're being extreme right now, but I can't say no to that. Like objectively, it's like I can't remove that from the world. I can't remove that from our reality. I can't do anything about it. You got to know everybody has their opinions. Be careful who you listen to. That's all. Be careful whose opinion you take seriously. I know you're just being funny, Titus. People are like that though, dude. We're like, you better say no. Like, bitch, you better say no. Jakey Steve, stop that. No, that's not what that is. Kareem Ali, you're saying, hi, MBG. I'm just curious, what's the do between, I guess you're saying difference. What's the difference between the PlayStation and Xbox layoff outrage? You said here, I did really see outrage for London and Pixel Opus compared to Bethesda. I think you meant to say you didn't see. Well, there's two sides to this coin, right? And we'll acknowledge both. On one side of the coin, there isn't a difference. There are developers getting laid off, studios being closed. All right? And that sucks. And yes, these studios that Sony closed, Pixel Opus and London, they were closed because they weren't producing. They weren't the moneymakers. Well, it seemed like to be honest, it seemed like with London Studio, it just seems like they were having trouble getting a game together. Pixel Opus, it could have been the same thing, but Pixel Opus did make Concrete Genie. So I'm thinking it's more along the lines of like they just weren't producing games that were going to really do much for Sony. And when I talked about both of these studios, I expressed frustration and that I personally, now I don't run the business. I don't have the numbers. I don't have all of them in front of me, but I thought that this was a mistake. I thought Sony could have benefited from Pixel Opus, having a smaller studio that can put out these more charming titles. I think it can just help with the overall, like, if anything, it's even if they're not making you a lot of money and you may be losing a little bit of money on them, I think they're worth keeping around because like that's really going to, I think, matter to a certain portion of gamers where you're going to earn some goodwill there. You're going to earn some respect and you're going to show that like, hey, we don't just care about only the biggest and the best, So I thought Pixel Opus was somewhat of a mistake shutting down, but there was nothing that could be done about it. And it was frustrating. And London Studio was even a little bit more frustrating because London Studio has been around forever. And the biggest mistake that I think Sony made in shutting Sony London down, and this is just my opinion, is that they should have at least given them a chance to make a regular single player game again. You're talking about the same studio, even though I know it's probably a whole new group of people, but they have a history where they've made, they made The Getaway. And I think there were 2 Getaway games. I'm not saying make another Getaway game, but I'm saying try to make something in the vein of a single player game. Instead, they were making a live service game, and it just seemed like it just wasn't coming together. And for some reason, Sony was like, drop the axe, it's over. It seemed a bit extreme. And yeah, I know The Getaway was like 2 decades ago, but I think you get what I'm saying, where it's like, they also made Blood and Truth for PSVR 1. It's like, maybe you can do something like that, but just a more traditional game, not for VR. So I thought Sony was a bit too trigger happy, to be honest, with shutting these studios down. And I expressed that. I can't speak on behalf of anybody else but myself. I did see there were people upset. I also did see that there were people defending it. Like, Sony had to trim the fat, so on and so forth. And it's like, well, yeah, we can acknowledge that, but it's like, this still fucking sucks. You know, like that's one less studio that could have made a good game that we could have enjoyed. And it sucks. Even if they were floundering, like, you know, you do have a question, like, why do some studios get more of a chance than others? But anyway, that's one side of it. But on the other side, on the flip side, like, what's the difference? There is also a difference here. I think the reason why Microsoft deserves more heat right now for what's going on with these studio closures is you have to, like, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. I mean, you can if you want, but I don't think it's wise. You can't ignore the elephant that is, we just bought all of these studios, all of these teams, all of these devs, all of this IP for like nearly $100 billion. And part of that elephant is also the bullshit behind it, where it was nothing but, I played the Phil Spencer clip earlier. It's like, we love these teams. We believe in these teams. We're going to support these teams. And it's all just a bunch of bullshit that results in, actually, these teams aren't making us enough money and none of what we said matters. We're just going to trim the fat now. And I think that, again, the difference here is, you think about Sony London. Yeah, it's a fucking damn shame that Sony London closed, but that was a studio that, as pointing out, like one of Sony's oldest studios. Like, they were around for a long time and were given so many chances to do this, to do that, right? And it just came to an end point where it's like, all right, it's got to end now. Again, it sucks. It's not ideal, but it is different. It's not like Sony bought Sony London. Well, that wouldn't even make sense. It's not like they bought a London-based studio and after 2 or 3 years were like, you know what? Shut them the fuck down. They didn't do that. And I don't know how old Pixel Opus was, but Pixel Opus is a little bit more questionable to me. I got to be honest. Like, Pixel Opus is a little bit more questionable because, like, Concrete Genie, I know it probably didn't sell well, but people seem to really like that game. So I don't know if something went, like, terribly wrong behind the scenes, but that one is more questionable. But I just think that, like, you can't look at the things that Microsoft is doing in this industry and just say, well, there is no difference. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Like, no, it's not. Like, this company has the power to ruin this fucking industry, like, single-handedly. That's the difference. Like, Microsoft has the money and the power to do pretty, like, as long as, I mean, they've proven, look, it's been proven they can steamroll the regulators. To be clear, like, Microsoft proved they can steamroll the regulators. So, yeah, to me, that's concerning, dude. It would be like if Sony shut down Bungie or something. Well, it's not exactly the same. It's definitely not. But, like, could you imagine if Sony bought, like, Remedy, right? And Alan Wake 2, it's like, oh, really highly decorated game. Yeah, no, it's not. It didn't recoup its sales. Like, we're shutting them down. Like, what? People would have every right to be like, fuck you, Sony. Like, you're gonna ruin this industry. Like, you're just gonna buy everybody, and you're gonna create. How did the developer at Bethesda, the way they put it, a Darwinist jungle environment, a Darwinist jungle dev environment. So, again, there are similarities, but there are also differences. And I think that we have to just acknowledge each, it's so fucking stupid to me when people call out Microsoft for their bullshit and you're like, but Sony had some bullshit too. Like, yeah, okay. And we called them out for it. Like, what's your fucking point? The bullshit is the bullshit. And some of it, it really, what we're really talking about here is who has the bigger pile of bullshit. That's really what we're trying to identify. Who has the biggest pile of bullshit here? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all bullshit, but if you see a much bigger pile of bullshit, you're going to point that out. Like, that's a lot bigger. There's a lot more going on over there. You step in that, It's gonna be a whole situation, you know? Why am I why are you guys saying Matt Booty in the chat? You guys are crazy. Anthony with a super chat here saying Xbox closed Tango after Hi-Fi released on PlayStation. The test failed. I bought Hi-Fi twice, digital and physical, both on PlayStation. Had it sold a couple million, Tango would still be here. I did my part. Be real. Well, yeah, but Anthony, first off, I think that's correct. That like if you see, here's what I can say just for myself. I supported Ghostwire Tokyo. I paid $70 for that game at launch. I bought The Evil Within 2 at launch. I bought The Evil Within 1 at launch. The only game I didn't buy from Tango Gameworks was Hi-Fi Rush because it wasn't my cup of, that's not what I expected from Tango, and I just wasn't interested in it. I think it's a little bit unfair, Anthony, to be honest, to pin this on that game alone. Because what about Ghostwire Tokyo? You know, what about The Evil Within 1 and 2? Because I could easily say I did my part as well. And we could just, the conclusion to this could ultimately just be that regardless of how much I did my part and regardless of how much you did your part, when it comes to Microsoft owning the studio, they just decided it's not enough. It's just not. And that to me fucking sucks. Because it's like I get it, you're a business, but you are worth $3 fucking trillion. You can't. The human mind cannot fathom how much money that actually is. That's literally like an unfathomable amount of money. $3 trillion. You are the most valuable company on the planet. You're telling me you can't just bite the fucking bullet for your only Japanese studio that has a pretty decent history? I would say a good history of game output. You can't do that. I'm sorry, man, but that's where I turn. Like, I have my limits of understanding the business side of it, and that's where I turn. I say, fuck you. Like, you're all just pieces of shit. You're just greedy fucks. That's what you are. Because that is bullshit. And I don't give a fuck what any suit has to say about, well, let me tell you what, I don't care. $3 trillion speaks for itself. And you know what? It's like, again, if this studio fucking truly sucked, yes, I've seen Full Metal Jacket. If Hi-Fi Rush really, sorry, not Hi-Fi Rush, if Tango Gameworks really produced dog shit games, I would be a little bit more understanding. If not dog shit, really, 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 like, no one knows about this game. Like, literally no one knows about this game. I could understand that. Yes, Hanzo. Yes, absolutely. It would be a little bit more understandable, like, yeah, but no one knew about this game. No one knew about this game. It would, nobody knows about the studio. So they're like, whatever. But I don't see it that way. Like, I thought The Evil Within 1 and 2 were pretty decently well-known games in the horror genre that were great. I thought they were great. And I always wanted a third one. I thought, dude, Ghostwire Tokyo, I know it didn't light the world on fire, and it's not like a 10 out of 10 game, not even a 9 out of 10 game, but it was a good game. Like, it was a solid, fun video game that I was quite surprised when I completed it. I'm like, damn, I actually had way more fun with that than I thought I would. Like, I expected it to just be okay, but I walked away being like, that was pretty fun. That was an enjoyable experience. And I know I didn't play Hi-Fi Rush, but when I saw how much praise and attention Hi-Fi Rush got, I'm like, this studio has to be one of the safest studios underneath Microsoft. And it's not. And I get you're saying like PS5 was the test, but like I have one last thing I want to say to that. Microsoft is partially to blame here. Okay, Microsoft spent years conditioning their own player base. You don't have to buy games. You don't have to buy games. You need to you can subscribe to Game Pass. You need to subscribe to Game Pass. You don't have to buy your games. I know that they've conditioned their fan base because this is all I would hear from the fan base for the past 4 years, 5 years. We're not going to pay $70 for a game. We'll wait for it on Game Pass. We're going to get it day one on Game Pass. And I've always pushed back against that. I've always said you should just pay for the shit you like. Like, I get it. They're dangling that carrot in front of you so you could save money. And I always tried to warn people, like, you think Microsoft wants to save you money. No, they don't. They want to get you in the fucking door. And there's a timer on all of this. They don't just need to get you in the door. They need to get like 80 million people in the door. And if they don't get 80 million people in the door by the time, the buzzer goes off, well, somebody's in trouble. And if you think it's going to be the shareholders, nope. You think it's going to be the upper executives at Microsoft that are going to say, I'll take a pay cut. Nope. It falls back down to the people who had no control over any of this. And that's the fucking brutal truth. That is the brutal truth. If Hi-Fi Rush would have launched day one on PS5, who knows what it would have done? Who knows what it would have done? If Microsoft didn't drop it day one in the Game Pass and the only way people could play it is by buying it, who knows what it would have done? But that's not what happened. And it feels like Microsoft set this studio up to fail, man. That's what's most depressing to me. And Anthony with a follow-up super chat here saying, not you, MBG, but how many complainers actually supported Tango, not Game Pass? It's just an outrage when they didn't vote with their wallet. Agreed, MBG. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I can't sit here and say what you're saying. Like, I can't say I bought multiple copies of Hi-Fi Rush. The only thing I can say is I genuinely am. I'll put it to you this way: if I had known that, like, dude, you need to go, like, you need to buy a copy of Hi-Fi Rush and you need to use your platform to encourage everybody to buy it, or this studio's done, I would have done that. And hindsight 2020, I would have expected this to be the consequence. And if I had known, I would have actually taken more action here. Even though it's not a game I want from them, if it's like, listen, you either buy this fucking game or this studio's toast, bro. I was legitimately over here thinking, like, maybe we'll see their next game announced at the showcase. Maybe it'll be Evil Within. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Evil Within 3. I know Shinji Mikami's not there anymore, but still, like, they clearly have some talent over there. If not that, maybe it'll be something in the vein of Ghostwire Tokyo. And it's just like, fuck. Saying, sorry, MBG, but it's not our job to keep studios alive. And you're right about that. Yeah. And that, to me, that's what feels so unfair about it to a degree, right? Again, like, and it's hard for me to turn to the consumer and be like, you guys didn't do your fucking part. I mean, I guess to an extent they didn't, but it's like, I'm not saying Microsoft be a charity and just keep studios alive that are losing you money constantly. I'm not saying that. But it's like, it's like, this is something you have for the first time. You have a Japanese studio, the only Xbox-owned Japanese studio, for the first time in its history. And the last game they made, even though it didn't sell the most, people considered it one of the best games ever produced underneath the Xbox Game Studios banner. You know what I mean? Brooke James says, bro, this MBG dude is just yapping about nothing, thinking he's smart. Like, dude, let me ask you, did you hear a fucking word I just said? Brooke James? Did you hear a single word I just said? Because look, I'm not over here saying I'm smart, listen to me, but surely you understand that pretty much everything I just said makes at least decent sense. At worst, decent sense. Because the only thing I can fathom is that you just sat here listening to what I said and it just sounded like static to you. And you're like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Jesus, dude. I'm not saying you need to come in and say, you know what, you're totally right, MBG. But at least if you're going to say that, please enlighten me as to what's not making sense. What's making me sound so unsmart? I've covered all the angles of this. I've covered the angle from the corporate executive. I've covered the angle from the shareholder. I've covered the angle from the developer. I've covered the angle from the consumer. I've covered all the angles. But I don't know. I guess I'm just a fucking idiot. I love it, man. And then Roofer Man comes and is like, yo, MBG's smart, but this chat's dumb as fuck, bro. Like, what's even going on? What are we even doing here, guys? Let him respond. I mean, that's fine. Like, that's fine. I welcome a response. You know, I'm not trying, like, I know I was just very combative, but it's just because it's like, listen, man, I'm trying to be genuinely as thorough as I can. That's all. Like, I think at the very least, I'm being pretty thorough about it. You could disagree with every one of my takes, but I feel like you can't say I wasn't thorough. And this, I think the reason why that just triggered me so much is because this is kind of the problem I run into frequently on the internet is people just, it feels like they only listen to like a very small sliver of what I have to say. And then they're just like, yeah, no, you're not, that doesn't make sense, or you're wrong, or that's a bad take. It's like, but did you really listen to everything else I said? But that's the hard part, right? I'm not saying that's fully on the viewer, but it's tough. You know, it's tough when you do these streams. Boss, you all right? Let's keep it civil. I'm gonna fight somebody in my chat. Let's go. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I did go a little bit off the rails, though. In all seriousness. Oh, how Euphoria just comes in as like Xbox gamers in denial. More tonight at 11. By the way, guys, hit that like button for me if you could. It helps out the streams. Let's go see if there's any other news going on right now. Any other updates? It doesn't look like it. Let me check. All right. Well, a part of me was like kind of hoping that by this point, I don't know, after streaming for a couple hours, maybe some more info would have come out. But it seems like we're just going to have to sit tight and wait for the actual announcement, possibly next week sometime. All right, so okay, we're over 2 hours and 15 minutes into the stream. I thought, I don't know why, for some reason I thought I was only like an hour and a half into the stream. So I'm further out than I thought. Devil Shooter says, MEG, just say Xbox games on PlayStation and let them stay mad. When is Ghost of Tsushima 2 getting revealed? It seems likely. Not guaranteed, but very likely it's going to be revealed at the end of this month at a showcase. Did I see Mr. Maddie's reaction to this MVG very angry? No, I didn't catch that. I mean, dude, that's the thing. I know that there are like Xbox influencers and stuff out there, and like, I'm not talking about Mr. Maddie. I think people, is it Mr. Maddie plays? I think he's more like of a Bethesda person than anything. So or like that's where he started. So I could see why he would be really pissed off. But I just can't imagine that there's really anything like good to say. Like, I mean, really good to say right now. Like the most I would expect, like the most positive thing I can say about Microsoft at this exact moment is, well, it at least they have a showcase coming, you know, that they announced where they could have some potentially exciting reveals. That's about it. Or boss, are you like what is going on right now? Do you guys see the way he's on my leg? Like he's just keeping his one foot on my leg, like bro, or foot, his one paw. Boss has a foot. Bro, there ain't no way this guy's trying to come at me for being a cat owner. No way. Man, we got some real trolls in the chat today. But you know what? They did have to subscribe to the channel though to send that message. So and then there's somebody in the chat. I don't know what dude, what is going on with my chat today, bro? Space Gambler, thank you for being on top of this stuff. They're putting the mods to work today, man. It's why, dude. I'm telling you right now, the day of the showcase, I'm about to make it members only chat. I really am, because I don't want to deal with the stress. I don't want my mods to have to deal with the stress. I remember there were times in the past where I just kept my chats on these big event days like totally open, and holy shit, nightmare. Keeps the engagement up. Yeah, well, that I will say, I don't know how that works, right? Like I don't know if it's like the more that the chat, like the quicker the chat flows, like does YouTube's algorithm like recognize that? Like, let's get more people in here. Okay. Now he's just taking shots. Come on, bro. Like that, I love it. I love how it's like there's an opportunity for them to like make some kind of argument, and they just can't. They don't get me wrong. Some people do make some good arguments, and I welcome that. And there are times where people make arguments from like, you know what, you might be right. Maybe I'm seeing things differently. But then there are just some people that come over to like, yo, you suck. It's like, why do I suck? It's like, because you just suck. It's like, oh, thanks. That's very enlightening. Xbox Showcase got leaked on 4chan. Oh, another one? Wait, didn't the Xbox Showcase get leaked on 4chan the other week? Is that what you're talking about? Neo, that's funny. You want me to take the hat off so you can see my old man hairline? Well, one day I will. Dude, I am like an old man. For real. Like I feel like an old man. I'm 30 years old, but dude, yeah, if I feel like if you were, well, I haven't shaved my head in a couple days, but if you see my hair, it's not like, it doesn't look crazy like, oh man. No, it just looks like a normal receding hairline, like most people. Like I got the horseshoe thing going on, but it definitely makes me look older than I actually am. Like I feel like if people were to see me, like just walking around right without a hat on, like I don't think they would assume, oh, you're like 42. I don't think they would think that, but I don't think they would think you're 30. They'd probably think I'm like 36 or something, or 37. But yeah. Dude, my whole thing with the hair, like I'm not hiding my hairline, to be clear. Like I've explained this over and over again, where the only reason I keep my hat on at this point is because well, at some point I'm probably just gonna have to let it go. It was always supposed to be like, let's get to 100K guys and I'll remove the hat, you know? But It would actually be quite nice because sometimes it gets annoying wearing a hat. But like when I'm not streaming, I don't. When I go out in public, I don't. I mean, sometimes I wear my hat in public, but most of the time, no. Wear a straw hat. Oh, dude, yeah. Ghost of Tsushima cosplay. Ghost of Tsushima cosplay, bro. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to just let it go though. Truthfully, like I might have to find a different way to do a head reveal or something, or hat removal stream or something. Just because, like, I've been saying this 100K thing. I don't know if I'm getting to 100K, guys. I've just accepted that. I would like to, but I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. Like, if it's going to happen, it seems like it's going to take quite some time. You're saying, pretty sure I've seen you without your hat. When? Devil Shooter? Oh, do you mean like in person? Like you've seen me in out? Devil Shooter, are you secretly a stalker? Should I be worried? I've seen some people tell me that they think they've seen me in public, and I don't know. I don't go out that much, so I want to say probably not, but who knows? When I first started my channel, I'm trying to think if there was. You might be right, Devil Shooter. God, that was so long ago, and I made very different types of videos. But I'm pretty sure I still. I mean, I did have longer hair at that time. Actually, I think at one point I had pretty long hair, but I still wore a hat. You could be right though. That'd be funny. Now, oh man, I don't think I have those videos saved on YouTube though. I mean, you're talking videos from like 2016. I had my face as a profile at one point. Are you, dude? I don't know, Devil Shooter. I don't know, man. You might be see. I feel like you're wrong, but at the same time, like my memory's pretty shit with this type of stuff. So like it's possible. It's definitely possible. Is any of it turning gray? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If I let my hair grow in, I mean, at least it seems like it from what I can tell. It seems like there's a lot of gray hair there. Yeah. I got that old snake accelerated aging, bro. I'm getting white beard hairs. I got some white chest hairs. I don't know what's going on. I would look sick with a mullet. I don't think I could properly grow a mullet. Maybe I could. Do the revolver ocelot hairstyle. Welcome to your 30s, MBG. Yeah, I'm not upset by any of it. You know, I just accept it. I don't mind getting older. It's just part of life. Like I'm trying my best to take care of myself, you know? Like I don't want to make myself age faster than I have to. I'm sure you guys have picked this up, but I'm a very high-strung person. I have been my whole life. So I have no doubt that like I have caused accelerated aging to a certain extent just based off of how much I would stress about stuff in life. I have no doubt about that. Like I'm sure I've taken some years off my life from toxic stress. And you know what's crazy to think is you look back at those like years or those times and you remember like, man, I cared so much. Like I was so stressed. I was so angry. I was so frustrated. But like now you're so far removed from it and you realize now like, man, it really, it's not that it didn't matter, but it didn't matter enough to justify that type of feeling, you know, like to cause that level of stress. But that's part of living in the moment, man, you know? That's part of living in the moment. I think everybody has experienced that. Yeah, the Hassan Karaman streams took years off my life. That probably made my hairline was already receded at that point, or receding. That probably is what made my hair gray. Microsoft just invested $3.3 billion in an AI company. I saw that EA's CEO recently said that developers are very eager to start incorporating like AI into their development to speed it up. And I don't know how people are replying or responding to his take or his comments, but I wonder how much truth there is to that. Like, is that like, are developers eager to do that? Or is he just saying that because he's the CEO of a company and that would benefit him and the company more than anything? I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. And he was talking about the new Battlefield game too. He was saying that like it's going to be an incredible live service, and it's like, I know you're talking to shareholders, but geez, man, it just sounds so hollow to phrase it like that, you know? The new Battlefield is going to be amazing. It's going to be an incredible live service. Like, yay. I can't wait. I mean, I am interested to see the new Battlefield, but damn, that doesn't get me very excited. I should do a stream where I shave my head. Would that be good content though? I don't know that people would really be that interested in seeing that. That would definitely be a meme though, for sure. MBG, this is why I told you to react to the Unreal Engine 5 video. Their AI stuff is actually good for devs. And yeah, I'll have to go look deeper into that when I get a chance. I don't know. I think the AI stuff is, I don't find myself too interested in it because it just feels like it's not. It's like when people like, hey, did you know that this section of this game was made by AI? And people are like, well, I fucking hate it now. I want nothing to do with it. It's like, I'm going to be real, man. Like, I don't care that much. Like, I don't want an entire game made by AI, but it's like, I don't know. There seems to be this kind of fight against it, I guess. And I don't really care about AI that much, truthfully. But I have also just kind of accepted that it will have a place in our society. I don't know. I just don't feel too concerned by it. Like, it feels like it doesn't confront me. Like, maybe one day it will. Andrew Ehrenreich says, MBG, you should play Madison VR. It's a very chill and relaxing game. Lots of fun. Did you see the super chat I got earlier, Andrew? From Ragu Bagu? Ragu Bagu said he had to say F whoever recommended this game to me. He's never gotten so scared in his life. Yeah, you don't understand, MBG. AI will change the world. Well, it's not that I don't understand. It's just that I don't feel, and this is, I guess, kind of funny coming from me because I feel the need to try to speculate everything, but it's like, I believe you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you say, dude, AI is going to completely change the world and humanity, yeah. If somebody says it's going to change it for the worse, I'd say, I could easily see that. If somebody said it's not, it's going to change it for the better, I'd say, yeah, I could see that too. It feels like one of these things where it's like, I know it's going to be profound, and this is just the beginning, and I don't feel as though I know enough, and I'm not close enough to it, nor am I paying enough attention to it, to be able to really determine, like, is this good or bad? It feels like it's one of these things where as it progresses, it'll be more involved in my life, and I'll have to kind of take it as it comes and determine as I go, if that makes sense. Terminator was a prophecy. Oh, man. Yeah, it is crazy to think. It may have been. It may have been. Yeah, AI to me seems like it could be just like anything else. There'll be some good, there'll be some bad. I think it really comes down to us, the human race that created the AI, and how we choose to use it. Where I think there are going to be people with good intentions that do good things, but I think there's also going to be people either, if not with bad intention or ill intent, misguided intention. And it's going to be pretty bad. MGS2 flashbacks. The Matrix is a documentary. Are we in the members lounge? No members lounge today. But I pretty much have extracted everything out of this topic. Well, I feel like I stopped talking about the PlayStation Showcase a little while ago. We obviously talked about other topics as well. I just consider this a kind of bonus stream. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about just waiting to talk about this tomorrow, but it was one of those things where it's like, man, an excuse to talk about the PlayStation Showcase. Let's do it. Can't pass that up. But of course, we talked a little bit more about Xbox and whatnot. Next week could be it. Yeah. I think that's another reason I kind of felt the need to maybe talk about this in this stream today, is because I was like, what if it gets announced tomorrow? You know? Sony needs to smash the showcase out of the park. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I'm going to continue to talk about it until it happens. And since we're getting so close to it, I'm clearly going to talk about it more. But I know that you guys already know. I know that. Anybody who's been listening to me for more than like 3 months, even 2 months at this point, you already have a very solid understanding of my expectations. And I think we're mostly all in agreement in that it has to be a great showcase. Sony can't hold back. Just a quick recap. 2019. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Sony didn't have a showcase in 2019, did they? Pretty sure no PlayStation showcase in 2019. In 2020, we had 2 great showcases. In 2021, we had one pretty okay showcase, but it was a shorter showcase, and it didn't really have as big of a splash. And I think the 2021 showcase left something to be desired. 2022, no showcase. 2023, abysmal showcase. So when you look at that history, that's the last 4 years worth of showcases. The truth is, only one of those years did we have a great showcase. And actually, we had 2. That was the year 2020. 2020 was the last year we actually had a great showcase from Sony. Everything else since then has either been okay or abysmal. And so I feel like, okay, Sony, like you can't go another year. You just can't. 2024 has to be the year where you have a great showcase. And if you have a great showcase this year, next year's showcase can maybe just be okay. But it needs to be great. For sure. But guys, let me see. All right, so we're a little over the 2.5 hour mark. I think this is where I'm going to bring the stream to an end. I did tell myself I didn't want this to be a super long stream today. It did turn out to be a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I was aiming for about the 2 hour mark, so I'm nearly 40 minutes over. But I think this is where I'm going to close out this stream. And before I do, as always, I just want to make sure to thank everybody for your support. You want me to work out? Well, we're sitting at 7 members on the day. All right. I saved the reps for 50 members. I did give Boss. Listen, I broke my rule today. I gave Boss some snacks. I usually don't give him some treats or snacks unless we hit 25 members. So I broke my rule today, but we'll see. Maybe tomorrow's stream, if we hit 50 members, we'll do some reps. But I want to thank everybody for your continued support. We did hit 7 members today, which is good. Thank you for that. And I also want to make sure to thank everybody who dropped some super chats, and also any of you guys who dropped some donations directly through Streamlabs. I really appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. It's so clear that there are people who just can't stand this channel. There are people who can't stand me. There are people who can't stand my audience. And I just, again, man, this is why I just want to make sure to absolutely highlight those of you who are showing support. It really does mean a lot. And it's what keeps this going. And without you and without that support, it would stop. So thank you guys so much. And we also have Jakey Stee coming in here the last minute with a, what is that, a hot dog? Jakey Stee, what are you trying to communicate here, man? Armor hot dogs. But Jake Easty, I do appreciate that donation, man. And yeah, I also want to make sure to give a special shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps for the streams. I still see people when the streams are ended asking for timestamps. Keep in mind, Devil Shooter gets them up as quickly as he can. So I should probably try to tell people this more often. But if you don't see the timestamps when you click on the stream, it's probably because they're being worked on, and they will be there hopefully soon. So yeah, shout out to Devil Shooter. If you see him in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. I know he really appreciates all of that, and he really enjoys this community. So thank you, Devil Shooter. But that does it, guys. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day. Just make sure you're hitting that like button as you are filing out. And yeah, with that being said, I will catch all of you guys in the next one. So until next time, guys, take care.